Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Ran Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Vishtam Vishnupad Ashruta Rashita Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudev Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Vishtam Vishnupad Ashruta Rashita Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Vishtam Vishnupad Ashruta Rashita Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashruta Rashita Shishmad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashruta Rashita Shishmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Mahabhagavat Śrīla Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashruta Rashita Shishmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashruta Rashita Shishmad Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Anubhariya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jeev Gopala Patadasha Raghunath, Shara Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Raya Ramanandari, Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namataya Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Braja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund Nimanagama Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pavishtam Vishnupad Ashruta Rashita Shishimad Bhakti Kumuda Santa Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi Ki Jai. Titi Palankari Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Manjari Didi, Dandavat Pranam. So I've been having so much trouble with my internet. Anyhow, right now I'm using my mobile connection. Hopefully it works. I'm gonna keep on checking back though to see if it's cutting out too much. Hari Bol, Kishore Prabhu, and Rohit Radha Krishnanji. Yeah, so if my internet starts getting too choppy, you're not able to follow, and or just send me a WhatsApp message, or I'll also keep on checking back to make sure it's running all right. All right, so let me share my screen. We're going to read from My Beloved Masters by Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Śrīmad. This is a kind of a long chapter, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to read all of it. It's 106 pages like this. So anyways, let's see how far we get. His early days and joining the Math. Śrīmad Bhakti Kumuda Santa Goswami Maharaj appeared in the village of Narma, West Bengal, and was given the name Radharaman Das after his family worshipable deity, Shri Shri Radharaman. His father, Shri Vaikunthanatha Rai, was a zamindar, a landowner, as well as a practicing astrologer and Ayurvedic doctor. Being highly impressed by his first encounter with the Gaudiya Math preachers, he invited them to stay for some days in his home. After regularly extending such invitations to devotees, Shri Vaikunthanatha Rai became closely acquainted with the Gaudiya Math. The preachers of Sri Gaudiya Math were so pleased with Sri Vaikunthanatha Rai's service and hospitality that they would stay only at his house during their visits. They would stay only at his house during their visits to his town. Because he was not particularly attached to the opulence enjoyed by landowners in that era, he would spend most of his time treating patients and calculating astrological charts. He rendered profuse, wholehearted assistance to the sannyasis and brahmacharis, collecting funds for the Sri Navadip Parikrama held by Sri Chaitanya Math. He had a potent ambition for seeking his spiritual welfare, and so despite his worldly opulence and landowner affluence, he never hesitated to personally collect donations. He firmly believed that the association of sadhus is the only means of attaining well-being in this human life. One second, I forgot to check the mic. Hari Bol, Madhavi Didi, and Pradyumna Prabhu, and Mantra Murti Mataji. Oops. Now the sound will be better. Śrīmad Bhakti Hridaya Gosvāmī Mahārāja and Sri Pranavananda Brahmachari, later known as Śrīla Bhakti Pramod Puri Gosvāmī Mahārāja, once visited Sri Vaikunthanath Rai's home to collect provisions for the upcoming Navadip Dham Parikrama. Sri Vaikunthanath Rai offered them 108 rupees worth of silver coins and pranami, and Sri Radharaman Das and his brother Krishnadas received the good fortune to serve them. During his 5-day stay, Sri Pranavananda Brahmachari observed that Sri Radharaman Das spent the majority of his time sitting peacefully in the temple room, either hearing Harikatha or performing kirtan. One day, after Pranavananda Brahmachari sang Jeev Jago, he and the boy, Sri Radharaman Das, discussed the meaning of the kirtan. Sri Pranavananda Brahmachari was amazed to see an ardent love for katha and kirtan in such a young boy. He said to Sri Vaikunthanath Rai, "Your son's behavior is rather atypical for a child. His natural attraction to spiritual matters amazes me. We would be greatly pleased to have him stay in our mat. There he can gain both spiritual knowledge and a regular education. Will you allow him to come with us?" Sri Vaikunthanath Rai replied, "If he agrees to your proposal, you may surely take him with you. I have no objections." Sri Pranavananda Brahmachari asked Sri Radharaman Das, "Will you come with us to live with the sannyasis and brahmacharis in our Kolkata mat, where you can receive both spiritual and material educations?" "Yes," Sri Radharaman Das immediately answered. "There you will have time to serve sadhus all of the time." Sorry, let me reread that. "There you will have to serve sadhus all of the time, just as you're doing here," Sri Pranavananda Brahmachari told him. "That will only increase my good fortune," he replied with a youthful enthusiasm. In this way, Sri Radharaman Das agreed and accompanied the two visiting Vaishnavas back to the mat at number 1 Ultadanga Road, Kolkata, which at that time was a rented apartment. Oh, cool. Kishore Prabhu has the pranam mantra for Bhakti Kumuda Santa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Okay, maybe we can say that pranam mantra together at the end. Okay, so they went to the number 1 Ultadanga Road, which was at that time a rented apartment. Sri Radharaman Das's mother, Sri Ratnamayi Devi, was a considerably devotional woman. He was her third and youngest son and had been raised amid wealth. Before he left the mat, she appropriately instructed him about his future stay in the austere atmosphere of his guru's residence. She hugged him, kissed his forehead, and said with tears in her eyes, "Baba, your purpose is noble. Make accomplishing this purpose your life's only goal." Wow, what amazing parents, huh? Sri Vaikunthanath Rai accompanied his son to Kolkata, where he had darshan of Srila Prabhupada and talked to him about the boy. Srila Prabhupada asked Sri Radharaman Das, "So, Koka, will you be able to stay here?" And Koka, let's just see, does that mean nephew? Oh, boy. Bengali colloquialism for boy, similar to the English word kiddo. Hey, kiddo. Okay, so Koka, will you be able to stay here? Yes, the boy said. "I will definitely be able to stay." Upon joining the mat, the boy enrolled in a nearby school, the New Indian High School, and thus spent his time between his services in the mat and his studies. Sometimes Sri Radharaman Brahmachari washed the clothes of the accomplished sannyasis and brahmacharis, and sometimes he cleaned their rooms. Other times he cleaned the temple room with great delight. The devotees of the Math were captivated by the boy's enthusiasm and sincere inclination to serve. Also, Sri Radharaman's voice was very sweet. He would sit with the devotees and sing kirtan with them, heightening their ecstasy. One day, after Sri Radharaman Brahmachari had completed his studies at the New Indian High School, Srila Prabhupada told the sannyasi and brahmachari disciples crowded around him, "When I see how sincerely and quickly this boy performs his services, it occurs to me that if he were to spend his life in the Math, I could delegate many services to him without worry. But since he is young and has just finished his schooling, it is up to his parents whether he continues to stay here." Some time later, Sri Vaikuntanath Rai visited the Kolkata Math and asked his son, "Do you want to continue your studies? If you want to acquire a higher education, then I am happy to talk to Srila Prabhupada and to make arrangements for you to do so." Sri Radharaman Brahmachari said, "I have heard from Srila Prabhupada, Jada Vidya Jata Mayara Vaibhav. Material knowledge is simply the opulent manifestation of Bhagavan's illusory potency." Also, Thakur Bhaktivinoda has stated in his Sharanagati, "Vidyara Gaurave Brahmi Deshe Deshe Dhana Upar Janakori." In the pride of having acquired worldly knowledge, I simply wandered from one country to another, accumulating material wealth. Furthermore, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Adikanda 1249 mentions, "Pore keno lok Krishna Bhakti jani bare, se jari nahilo tabe vidyaye ki kore." Why do people study? In order to know Krishna. Why do people study? In order to know Krishna Bhakti. What is the use of acquiring knowledge if that devotion does not arise? Sri Radharaman Brahmachari continued, "Because I have heard and taken to heart the true purport of these statements and other similar declarations found in Scripture, I am determined not to waste my invaluable time in this human life on acquiring higher education, material comforts, or earning a livelihood. I want to obtain spiritual knowledge and thereby fulfill the true purpose of living in the Math." One second, okay. After Sri Radharaman consulted with Sri Pranavananda Brahmachari regarding his future, he decided that according to his current interest and inclination, it would be best to study Sanskrit under Srila Prabhupada's disciple, Sri Kavya Vyakaran Tirtha Gaur Das Pandit, in order to comprehend the Gaudiya Vaishnava scriptural canon. Sri Radharaman Brahmachari submitted this proposal to Srila Prabhupada, who gave his permission. Thus, Sri Radharaman Brahmachari relocated from Kolkata to Sri Chaitanya Math in Sri Dham, Mayapur. Sometime later, when Srila Prabhupada held a grand event to showcase the Shat Shikha Pradarshini exhibition in Sri Dham, Mayapur in the year 1930, he ordered Sri Radharaman Brahmachari, who was then absorbed in studying Sanskrit grammar, to dedicate himself to the services related to the exhibition. As per Srila Prabhupada's instruction, Sri Radharaman Brahmachari would deliver scripturally sound explanations to the guests regarding the exhibition's many displays. Unbeknownst to him, Srila Prabhupada listened in on these explanations, and when Sri Radharaman Brahmachari's mother, father, and two elder brothers came to see the exhibition, Srila Prabhupada praised the boy profusely. He told Sri Vaikuntanath Rai and Sri Ratnamai Devi, "Your youngest son has accrued substantial qualifications for someone his age. At present, he is studying Sanskrit grammar and sincerely serving the residents of the Dham." At the exhibition, Sri Radharaman Brahmachari spoke with his family members for some time about Srila Prabhupada's glories, the legacy of Srila Prabhupada's teachings, the speciality of the Gaudiya Math, and the profound purpose of the exhibition's themes. Then he requested them to invite good fortune to their lives by taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. Sri Vaikuntanath Rai and Sri Ratnamai Devi were rendered speechless by their amazement with their youngest son. They decided then and there that they and their three sons would all become Srila Prabhupada's disciples. Srila Prabhupada mercy on Sri Vaikuntanath Rai and his wife Ratnamai Devi and their sons, Sri Radha Sham Rai and Sri Radha Vinoda Rai. and Shri Radharaman Rai by giving them all Harinam. Oh, so Srila Bhakti Kumuda Santa Goswami Maharaj didn't have Harinam at this time because that's his name, right? Radharaman. Anyways, he asked Shri Radharaman Brahmachari's parents, "Do you object to Radharaman continuing to stay in the mat?" Shri Vaikuntha Rai and Shri Ratnamai Devi replied, "Please consider this boy as having been offered for the service of your lotus feet." His astuteness and service. According to the desire of Prabhupada, the daily newspaper Nadia Prakash was from Mayapur. One day, it so happens that there was no paper stock for the following day's issue, and the rain was making it difficult to procure a new supply. Sri Pranavananda Brahmachari, the paper's editor at that time, informed Srila Prabhupada about the situation and asked him what to do. Srila Prabhupada asked, "Is there anybody who can bring paper from our Bhagavat press in Krishnanagar?" Sri Pranavananda Brahmachari mentioned, Radharaman Brahmachari is here. I am certain he will go if you tell him." Srila Prabhupada then ordered Sri Radharaman Brahmachari to go, and the boy left immediately for Krishnanagar by bicycle. After riding a considerably far distance in the pouring rain, Sri Radharaman Brahmachari reached his destination. The devotees at Bhagavat Press bound the paper supply to the back of his bicycle. The knots they made, however, were quite loose, and the entire bundle of paper fell to the wet ground during his return journey. Sri Radharaman Brahmachari immediately removed his dhoti, which was approximately 5 meters, and replaced it with his uttariya, his upper cloth, which measured only 2 meters. Then, using the dhoti, he nicely bounds the paper, secured it to the bike, and carefully brought it to Mayapur. Srila Prabhupada was informed of the situation once Sri Radharaman Brahmachari returned, and he praised the boy, acknowledging that although he was very young, he displayed great astuteness in a difficult situation. Receiving Mantra Diksha. When Srila Prabhupada saw for himself how skillful Sri Radharaman was during the Sat Shiksha Pradarshini exhibition in Sridham Mayapur, he included his name in the list of devotees he would send to Dhaka to hold an exhibition there. When Sri Radharaman Brahmachari found out about this, he appealed to Śrīmad Bhakti Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja. He said, "My grammar studies have already been paused during the exhibition in Sridham Mayapur. If I go to Dhaka, they will practically cease altogether." One second. When Srila Bhāratī Gosvāmī Mahārāja put the matter before Srila Prabhupada called for Sri Radharaman Brahmachari. And Srila Prabhupada told him, oh God, I hope this doesn't continue. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada told him, "To think we must obtain some qualification before attempting to serve Sri Hari simply invites obstacles in our lives. Who knows what may happen in the time spent pursuing perfection? Our time in this human form of life is momentary. We cannot trust our breath will last. The rice paddy in the field must be dried while the sun is still shining. It is best to seize whatever opportunities for Hari Seva may arise. Your qualification will increase more by serving the Lord. Than by independently pursuing grammatical knowledge. Only a life led under guidance brings auspiciousness for a spiritual seeker residing in an ashram." Sri Radharaman Brahmachari took Srila Prabhupada's merciful instruction to heart and fixed it as the main instruction guiding him to the path of spiritual welfare. Sri Radharaman Brahmachari was thus always faithfully preoccupied with various services, and in 1934, at Bagh Bazar Gaudiya Math in Kolkata, Srila Prabhupada granted Sri Radharaman Brahmachari mantra diksha. The praise and criticism of ordinary people is meant for their own sense enjoyment. Wow, this topic again. We read about this topic yesterday when we were reading about Srila Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. The devotees of Sri Madhva Gaudiya Math in Dhaka once wrote to Srila Prabhupada requesting him to sing a kirtaniya for the Math. Knowing Sri Radharaman Brahmachari to be an exceptional kirtaniya, Srila Prabhupada asked him if he could manage to make the journey on his own. Sri Radharaman Brahmachari confidently affirms that he could, and accepting the order of his Gurudev, he departed for Dhaka, which required him to travel first by steamship and then by road. Being the first passenger to arrive on the steamship, Sri Radharaman Brahmachari took a seat next to one of the ship's windows. After some time, the ship slowly began to fill with passengers. Those who arrived after him told him, "Move over. Why are you sitting near the window anyway? You are a small child and can sit anywhere. Fresh air is required for old people. Why have you taken this seat? Get up from here and go sit elsewhere." Another person commented, "Nowadays people give birth to children and without accepting the responsibility for looking after them, leave them in the mud. These children then becomes sadhus due to their laziness and aversion to work." After hearing these comments, Sri Radharaman Brahmachari quietly got up from his seat and stood near the ship's entrance so that no one would be bothered further. Seeing this, everyone became satisfied and remained peaceful. Approximately 10 minutes later, an announcement was broadcast over the loudspeaker. "Everyone, please be attentive. The ocean is very rough today, and we have no control over the ship. We are in perilous danger. Anything can happen, so everyone, please remember God and pray to Him for our safety." Imagine if you heard that in an airplane. Hearing this, an old man who had previously complained about Sri Radharaman Brahmachari began to cry, lamenting, "My daughter is to be married soon, and I am carrying her dowry and wedding ornaments. If something happens to our ship, what will happen to my daughter's marriage? Everything will be ruined." Another passenger responded, "Didn't you hear the announcement? They are saying to remember God, so this is not the appropriate time to speak such things." The old man replied, "God will not listen to us because we never did his bhajan. But surely he will listen to this young sadhu. Although he is very young, he has understood the true value of life." After this, all the passengers who had previously complained about Sri Radharaman Brahmachari forcibly sat him down among them and requested him to pray for their safety. He replied, "I have heard from my Guru Maharaj that the Lord only hears the prayers of his surrendered devotees. As I am not yet surrendered to him, he will not even hear me, what to speak of fulfilling my requests. However, my Guru Maharaj has also mentioned that we should always perform Nam Sankirtan. Therefore, I can chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and all of you can repeat it in Kirtan. But I cannot guarantee that God will hear us. I cannot guarantee that God will hear or save us." So honest. The passengers accepted his proposal and began to perform Kirtan. After some time, the ship safely arrived at its destination. Srila Santa Gosvāmī Mahārāja often mentioned this pastime, and in doing so, taught us that both the criticism and praise of ordinary people have absolutely no value. Therefore, we should never become affected by whatever people may speak. Such people praise and criticize only for their own sense enjoyment. Just checking to make sure it's all running. Hari Bol, say Shri Mataji. Addressing godbrothers and Vaishnavas as Prabhu. Once, Sri Radharaman Brahmachari asked Srila Prabhupada why godbrothers referred to each other as Prabhu, and Srila Prabhupada gave the following response. It is said, Gurur sevak hoy manya apnar. The servant of one's guru is to be revered. According to this notion, We address all of our god brothers, both senior and junior, as Prabhu, so that we may cultivate a sense of being humbler than a blade of grass. If a person considers himself to be a Vaishnav and others to be junior or less advanced than him, he nurtures only mundane egotism. In the realm of spirituality, if we see each other as the servants of our Guru, the notion that another is inferior to or less qualified than us will never enter our hearts. Then we will not have a chance to feel malice or disregard for others. This is the secret of addressing each other as Prabhu. If one wishes to relinquish gross egotism and become a servant of Sri Gurudev, one must not regard Sri Gurudev's servants in terms of senior and junior. As the scriptures state, Tad britta britta brittasya brittam itimam smaralokanata. O Lord of the universe, I wish to forever remember that I am but the servant of the servant of the servant of your servant. We must simply internalize this concept. We must deeply internalize this conception. In this way, Scripture ordains that the that the servants of Guru, of Sri Guru, and indeed all Vaishnavas are to be addressed as Prabhu. His deep vision and concern for the residents of the Mat. Once, Sri Radharaman Brahmachari and Guru Maharaj, then known as Sri Hayagriva Brahmachari, were staying in the Madras Gaudiya Mat. Although they were brahmacharis and not sannyasis, they were accepted as experienced seniors because they sincerely followed Srila Prabhupada. During their stay, Sri Radharaman Brahmachari noticed that a particular brahmachari refused to mix with the other residents of the Mat and hardly spoke with anybody. He instead sought solitude wherever he could find it, just to focus on his reading and chanting. Sensing something suspicious about these activities, Sri Radharaman Brahmachari approached Sri Hayagriva Brahmachari and expressed his concerns, saying, Prabhu, although this brahmachari is chanting and reading a great deal and avoiding gossip, I feel something is wrong. Can you please investigate? Sri Hayagriva Brahmachari understood the legitimate reason for Sri Radharaman Brahmachari's concern. He called for the brahmachari and asked him, I have heard that you do not associate with any other residents of the Mat. What to speak of joking with them or sitting with them to take prasad? Why is this? The brahmachari replied, I do not wish to become involved in gossip, and that is why I prefer to keep to myself. Sri Hayagriva Brahmachari said, I think it would be better for you to sit with them and develop relationships. Try to lead your life in a natural way, as the other residents of the Mat do. It is not a problem if you sometimes have to joke and engage in gossip with them. Why? Because there's something to learn in each and every activity of the devotees. Feeling utterly confused, the brahmachari replied, Prabhu, although you are senior to me, you are instructing me to do the opposite of what I have heard from other senior Vaishnavas. I do not want you to feel as though I am challenging you, but Śrīmad Mahaprabhu has directed us not to listen to or speak gossip. But you are asking me to indulge in material talks with the brahmacharis if required? This is greatly puzzling. Listen properly, he said, to only with your body, not with your mind. If you do heed my word, then after... if you do not heed my words. Anyways, that's a mistake then. If you do not heed my words, then after some time, your body will also go from here. You will surely return to your home. But if you follow what I have suggested, at least you'll continue to stay here by body, and then gradually, your minds will come to stay in the Mat as well. Therefore, be peaceful, and please try to follow my advice. This instance shows that although Sri Radharaman Brahmachari was considerably young, he was a Durdarshi. He was capable of seeing what will come in the future beyond the present circumstances. While ordinary persons hold an external conception of proper and improper conduct, the perception of those who are Durdarshi extends beyond external conduct. Such persons, Durdarshi we translate as foresighted. Right? Starting to cut. Oh man. Let me check. Haribol Yashoda Didi. Is it cutting for everybody else? Please let me know. Okay. So such persons the hearts of others, as well. Both my Guru Maharaj and Sri Radharaman Brahmachari could ascertain that because this Brahmachari's mind was not fixed in being a servant of Sri Hari Guru and the Vaishnavas, he would quickly tire of his rigorous sadhan and leave the mutt. Sometime later, that Brahmachari received a letter, but instead of having it sent to the mutt, he had the sender address it to a nearby Grihastha family. Seeing that a letter had come for a resident of the mutt, that family explained to Sri Hayagriva Brahmachari and handed him the letter. Upon reading it, Sri Hayagriva Brahmachari learns that the Brahmachari had previously sent a letter to his mother, informing her that he would soon return home and that she should therefore arrange both a job and a wife for him. The letter Sri Hayagriva Brahmachari received was the mother's reply, in which she accepted the responsibility and told her son to return quickly. Shortly after the letter's arrival, the Brahmachari left the mutt. Although the Brahmachari displayed absolutely no visible indications of mental unrest while staying in the mutt, both Sri Radharaman Brahmachari and my Guru Maharaj could understand the situation very clearly. Fortunately, due to impressions he received as a result of staying in the mutt, this Brahmachari later accepted the real truth and returned to the mutt around the age of 65. Remembering the Durdarshita of Śrīla Santa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, he accepted sannyas from him sometime later. His courage to accept the truth. Okay, let me see. It's cutting out a little bit. Okay, Yashoda Didi said she's been having a problem with the sound, but she's just been reading along. I'm really sorry about that, guys. If it's way too bad, if it's cutting out way too much, then I can, just let me know, and I can stop the video. His courage, see what the download is like. Before I wasn't even giving 1 megabyte of upload, so that's probably... Srila Prabhupada's departure. Being still quite young, Vaikuntanath Prabhu who accepted his proposal and welcomed him home. Hearing the news of Sri Radharaman Brahmachari's departure, my Guru Maharaj at his home and asked Sri Vaikuntanath Prabhu, "You are the disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Even if your son is asking to return, how can you allow it?" Replied, "Actually, I do not wish for him to leave. I want him to be discouraged, and there is no one to support him due to having chosen another path, entitled to his inheritance. For this reason, I prefer him to remain a brahmachari and return to the mutt. Then he can go with you if he agrees to it. I have no objection. In fact, I would be pleased by this." Matter with Sri Radharaman Brahmachari, who said, Guru Maharaj said, "Sri Hayagriva, you have coming to bring me back to the mutt. You have treated. I am indebted to your lotus feet for this. However, even if I agree to again live in the mutt and, as a service to Sri Hari, become involved with the ongoing court case, I doubt I will be able to reconcile my concerns for the future of the mutt. Given the impression I have of how the residents of the Math dealt with each other following Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, I do not find myself very eager to march back there. Please forgive me for this. I promise you that I will deeply evaluate all these matters soon. After Guru Maharaj left, Sri Radharaman thought, "What have I done? I have foiled the plans of a Vaishnav who was concerned for my welfare and humiliated him by forcing him to turn back." Knowing that this would become an impediment to his bhajan, he spent the days that followed in regret, eating and sleeping only out of habit. After a few days, a particular scriptural adage, is that how you say adage, occurred to him. Shubhasya shigram ashubhasya kalaharanam. Good deeds should be done immediately, and bad deeds should be delayed. With this in mind, he presented himself before Guru Maharaj, who was then preaching in Medinipur. Guru Maharaj was so joyful and awestruck to see Sri Radharaman Brahmachari's determination to dedicate his life to the service of Sri Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas, that he felt he should be awarded sannyas. Because Guru Maharaj was not a sannyasi at the time, he requested Śrīmad Bhakti Vichar Jajavar Gosvāmī Mahārāja to award sannyas to Sri Radharaman Brahmachari. Srila Jajavar Gosvāmī Mahārāja accepted the proposal and awarded him sannyas at the Kir Chor Gopinath temple in Remuna. Since that time, he has been known as Śrīmad Bhakti Kumuda Santa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. We had never heard about this incident from anyone, not even Guru Maharaj, until Srila Santa Gosvāmī Mahārāja himself, until Srila Bhakti Kumuda Santa Gosvāmī Mahārāja himself spoke about it during Vrajmandal Parikrama in Vrindavan, and later at our Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math in Chandigarh. Srila Maharaj would often declare, "I have been tremendously benefited by the affectionate guidance of Pujapad Madhav Maharaj. He saved my life. What would have happened to me if I had stayed at home? He saved me from great danger." Srila Santa Gosvāmī Mahārāja and my Guru Maharaj were among the many disciples of Srila Prabhupada who stayed in Shyamananda Gaudiya Math in Medinipur, West Bengal. Although Guru Maharaj collected many donations and purchased the property for constructing that math, he did everything in the name of Srila Santa Gosvāmī Mahārāja and not his own. Such was the affection he had for him. Srila Santa Gosvāmī Mahārāja used to say, "I am not the master of anything or anyone. I am only a servant. As long as my godbrothers accept my service, I will give it. Should they no longer be interested in receiving it, I will stay with whosoever agrees to give me shelter." Okay, let me see how bad the cutting out is now. Man. Maybe I should stop now and then later on I can go live again. We have 48. We're more than halfway through, but it seems what it gave us. So I'm going to just put it up on the screen. 1 second. So together, Om Vishnu Paya Gora Prashtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Namine Drita Bhaktu Jwalangaya Gora Bhishta Pradaya Cha Jiva Kalmashanashaya Namo Nama Pradayine. All right, so I will end here, and tonight at 7:30 is probably a good time. 7:30 tonight. All right. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Oh, Shri Mataji and Rohit Radhakrishnan ji are saying that the fine, it's just intermittent, a few seconds. Oh, but now it's a little bad. So, over an hour, and so I think I'll go live in the morning time, 7:30, hours from when I normally read. Go live again to finish this hearing glories of Śrīla Bhakti Kumuda Santa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. All right, I'll do a quick Jaidwani and then we can end. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutara Shatashmar Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Śrīla Gurudev Ki Jai, Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutara Shatashmar Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutara Shatashmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutara Shatashmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nityal Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Śrīla Goksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Nityal Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Nityal Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Rupa Nuguriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jeev Gopala Bhattadas Raghunath, Shar Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari, Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai, Namachay Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Sarva Avishya Bharati Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Radha Kun Shama Kun Yamunaka Kanthos Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava, Shri Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutara Shatashmad Śrīla Bhakti Kumuda Santa Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai, Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi Ki Jai, Titi Palan Kari Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. And also Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Śrīla Bhakti Balavatirtha Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Śrīla Bhakti Dait Madhav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Sa Parshad Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai, Priyaya Keshavashacha, Krishna Bhakti Padadevi, Sattvatai Namo Namaha, Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. So I'll see you all in how many hours? Around 11 hours from now. And we will continue reading this beautiful glorification by Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bhāratī Goswami Mahārāja. Hari Bol, everybody. And then tomorrow we will continue on with our Śrīmad Bhagavatam reading. We'll read about Abhiram Thakur and also continue Śrīmad